Okay, so what we're working on here is for students to be able to read the passage at different levels, right? So we would have the 1.0 in here, 1.5 reading level, 2.0, 2.5. And you'd be able to have all of your students' names in here, Justin, Drew, Sarah, things like that. You could also add others. And then what you'd be able to do is on their cold read where they haven't seen it before, you'd be able to type in how many words they got correct in that 1 minute they were reading. And then also be able to type in how many words total were in that passage during that 1 minute. So you'd be able to figure out, what their percentage right was. And then we'd also want to be able to see on their hot read the second time through, how many words did they get correct? And then how many total words were there during that 1 minute on their hot read. And so this is the entry form for being able to get this data. And this is going to feed into a spreadsheet that's going to do a bunch of calculations and tell us the information that we want to know. So this form can be edited however. You can add in students' names here. It's actually really helpful to do that so that they're always looking the same every time. So go through, add in all of the students' names first, then all of the different book levels that you might be wanting to use right here, so you can just pick them and it's always going to be the same. That'll help with the spreadsheet calculating. So I'm going to go through and add this in. So let's say Drew goes, and there's already some of these kids in here. Let's say he got 14 out of 16 on the cold read, and then the second time he was reading a little faster, so he got 23 out of 25. And we'll submit that. Now what that's going to feed into is your spreadsheet. So in this folder, you've got the form and you've also got the spreadsheet. We're going to make copies of this in a bit. Now, where this feeds into is all of that data is going to go into this form data right here, and it's protected so you can't necessarily change it. You don't want to change that. It's just going to be the raw data. You can see I put the name, book level, and then all the data is going right there. Now on this calculated data is, again, something that's not going to get changed. All this is doing is pulling that data over here, same exact stuff here, but then it's also making a couple of calculations. So we can see what was his cold read accuracy on that reading, and then what was his hot read accuracy. It's just taking the numbers right divided by the number total and then making it a percentage. I just added this if error saying that, if it's an error, it's going to be blank. If I didn't have this in, we would end up with something like this. So I just added if error so that it's blank when there's an error in there. Anyways, this form, don't change anything with it, right? Just making a little calculation. Now what you have on this is your dashboard. So I can choose my student, Drew, and it's going to pull all of the book levels that he's attempted from this other form. So you can see that Drew has gone on 2.5, 2, and 1.5. And so it's going to pull all those book levels. Now I can choose the book level that I want for Drew. Let's say he started off at 1.5. It's going to pull all the times that he took 1.5 right over here. So you just have the raw data. And then it's going to say for all of these times that he took 1.5, here's the average cold read words per minute that he had, right? If there was multiple in here, it would take the average of that. I think I can see that with Justin. I think this one has some where it's duplicate. No, it doesn't. I think I just have one for each one, but it would take that average. So let's say Drew on his level 2, he's got the cold read average words per minute, and you can see it just copies it over because it's the average of 1. Then you've got the cold read total numbers, the hot read average hot read words per minute, how many he's had, and then we can see the cold read accuracy. So these numbers here is going to take the average of all of these trials, so that over time, if you have, let's say, 3 trials at book level 2, you can see how he did across all of those trials. And so that's how this form works. First, add in all of the data that you want on this form, and then it'll feed into here. Nothing to do on this calculated data, and then really nothing to do on the dashboard either, just changing these numbers right here. So that's how that form and that sheet system works.